All right, I to the Instagram.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
He plays a part.
Family, Dr. Dennis Saul Winkler back at you again in the house with Sister QueenA B, joining us up in the place to be, fam. We got a hot one for you today. Sister Queen, speak to him.
What's up, family? We got a hot joint tonight. You know, the question that we hear a lot, or not the question, but people say a lot, are Black people lazy, or that we are lazy? So we're going to kind of delve into that, not emotionally, but kind of pull back some of the layers, because it's a very nuanced conversation. You know what I'm saying, Da? So we got to kind of pull it back.
So we got to pull it back, slow it down, talk about it.
Absolutely. Because, you know, you was on the show 2 weeks ago, and you lit up. Shout out to Jabari and BA and Ricardo and Kenny on Reality Speaks Media. They had this is where the subject came from, are Black people lazy? And I watched that, and it got hot and heated at the end. And I just think that it needs a little more context. So that's what we're delving in today. That's what we're rolling into. Are Black people lazy? So
you got their names and everything. They stars out here in these streets, huh?
Right.
The BA, shouts out to the brothers, BA, Cardo, Kenny, and Jabari.
Yeah, I'm bigging up them brothers because they brought the topic, and you know they got a barbershop, so it gets hot in the barbershop. And the barbershop is an institution in the Black community. I mean, a lot goes down in the barbershop. I go to the barbershop when I get my hair cut, and the things that the men talk about, ladies. I'm telling you, the barbershop is something else. But this is a very live conversation. So, what do you think about the question, Da? Are Black people lazy? What is your thought on that first before we jump in?
You mean like answering that question?
Yeah, because it's it's blanket. It's no nuance, no context. Just are Black people lazy?
I think I honestly, if I could use the term, I think, okay, no, Black people aren't lazy. Let me say that.
Okay.
Is that how you want me to start off? No. My answer is no.
No.
Black people are not lazy.
Can you expound on why you would say no?
Because I think that I can go many ways, but I don't think you can support that. One. And two, are Black people, what is lazy? Even on that show, I asked them to define it, and with the definition they came up with is, one, who something about not working, and two, lacking energy.
Yeah.
And so
not wanting to work.
So say it again.
Not wanting to work.
Not wanting to work.
Yeah.
So you might look up the definition or what have you. It was the first definition, but the thing is. So the thing is, as a social scientist, I approach this in a way that might be a little different than just us having conversation. So my question is, again, so if you're saying that Black people are lazy, how do you support that? And then even on that show, someone said, so how do you support that? Not, first of all, I'm not the one making accusation. Okay. So if you're doing a scientific experiment, you are to rule out any I'm losing it right now, but you are to rule out, not rule out, but you are to find you are the one to have to do the research and support it, what have you. But nonetheless, I don't think that what framework do you have? What measurement do you have that can actually go out here into this population, get a large enough sample size, and say that okay, this is the criteria that we're saying that counts as lazy, and so now black people are lazy. I know that didn't happen. Well, if it did happen, I didn't see it. But nonetheless, if you're going merely by the definition, black people work. Most black people work, even if they work at a job that you know, a 9 to 5 or what have you. Black people are not lazy; they are working. And two, I don't see a lack of energy. And then I think what they're calling lazy, I think they're coming from I think they're coming from a place of concern, right? I have to be honest. I think they're coming from a place of concern. They want to see how people do better. They want to see how people do more. They want to see they're a little frustrated with where we are currently. But no, they can't support the idea that black people are lazy. They have to. I think we have to look at this more nuanced and really flesh it out a bit and say, what exactly are you saying? What are you seeing? And is the right term laziness? Unwilling to work or use energy. Yes. You can do a quick experiment. Thank you, Brother Ja. You can do a quick experiment and ask yourself, do most of the people around you are most of them unwilling to work? Most of them? And that's a small sample size, but are most people around you unwilling to work?
That's a good thought. Most people in your circle are working.
Yes.
And then probably mostly black.
Well, yeah, in mine it is. And most
mine, I mean, but I'm saying for black people, this is a black-centered platform. Most of our ecosystem is black.
Yeah. And then it was like, well, don't you hear that black people complain about being underpaid and all this and all that? And, you know, so I'm like, nobody else does that, they say. And I'm saying, well, where they do that at? All people I've been around, including those that we somehow think don't do it, called white people, they're the best complainers about being overworked and underpaid. And they're making more money than the rest of us. White men make more than black men and black women.
Yep.
Black men make more than black women per se, but white women and white men make more than both groups.
Yeah, both groups. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the African American men
just as much.
And the whole idea they took our jobs. So they say, so then they start to compare this idea against, what about the Latinos and Hispanics, and they don't complain?
We coming with them.
Huh?
That's one of the joints. They come.
Okay. Okay. Well, all right. So let me slow down. Okay. So I answered your question. You keep moving.
Yeah. But I want you to say that, and what you said, putting it in that box, because I think a lot of times our thought process comes from the folks who've oppressed us, and it is easy for them to say per se we're lazy, to kind of take away our contributions. What do you think about that? Like, it kind of negates what we contribute by saying, oh, they're just lazy, they're just here, and which they're present, but they're not doing anything.
Yes.
So take on that thought too.
So it's called miseducation. Let's, when we look at black identity, and my research is on black identity, there's a level or a stage called miseducation. In fact, I think it also teeter-totters around the lane or closer to even self-hatred in a sense. So miseducation would be that when you take on and you believe what the oppressor puts out, you kind of take that on, right? And then self-hatred is when you have that negative feeling about yourself and also your group. So, so again, all of these two fall under the umbrella of our internalized racism. So it's internalized racism is when you take on the oppressor's messaging as being true, and now you are also spewing those talking points because you believe it. But again, lots of people, and I believe the brothers that I was speaking to literally want to see us do better, and they believe that they can call people lazy, and somehow that's going to get them up and make them more active in the way that they want them to be active. And I think that they say, and they're tired of people in their in their understanding, they believe that that saying that a person may be depressed or a person may be oppressed or that there's or a person wants to be more valued and all these other things are excuses, and black people should just shut up and go to work.
That's a problem. If we're thinking about ourselves. And then what I hear more too is like with our young people and how we attack our young people and the older folks they used to attack in our generation. I think every generation attacks the next generation as being less than for some reason.
Absolutely.
You worked hard for me, or you didn't go through what I go through. I hear my mom saying, "Oh, I did this." So I think that these attacks are not founded. And also, have we healed the trauma from the generation before? Are we handing down trauma to make folks tired and to make them don't want to engage? Is that going on too? Is there some blame on the generation before?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. And I think that somehow when people get over 35, they begin to forget how they were and what people were saying about them when they were younger. They forget like the fact that one would say, they forget the things they did that weren't necessarily right or in accord with mom and dad. Mm-hmm. They forget them. People were calling them lazy, and our generation lazy. And these people, they got too much mouth, and they got too much this, and they got too much that, and they forgot they were running the streets. They forgot that their friends were all selling drugs. They forgot that. So they forgot that their friends kill people. They forget a lot of things. They forgot that guns actually existed back then, and back in those days, that people also said, "Man, we used to fight back in the day." When I was younger, I used to hear that too. I used to hear this idea that you guys can't fight. Everybody wants to pull a gun out. And now we repeat it as if it's something new. Oh yeah, back in the day, we used to fight. But when we were younger, they were saying that very thing to us. So that's just an analogy of how we lose sight, how we forget what we went through, how we forget that. As one of my mentors and also former professors, rest in peace, Dr. Marion Stanton said that we always talk about the good old days as if they truly existed.
Ooh. Now that's power right there for sure. Wow, the good old days. Were there some good old days? So and then also, and I want to shout out to Jabari. He was in the last conversation. He talked about drugs and how drugs is hampering our young people. The weed and the pills is making them this way. But why are young people on the weed and the pills? So I don't think we talk about that. We just talk about, well, that keeps them, they got to be high when they get up. They got to be high all the time. And it's not only young people getting high out here. When you go to Baltimore, it's a lot of ages getting high, and so this self-medication is a problem too. He said the pills rocks up smack.
Just keep it a buck. The generation before me, those are a little older than me, maybe like 10 to 15 years older than me. And if in their early 50s to mid 50s, or maybe almost 60 of them right now, some close to 60 even. They weren't taking pills per se, but they were snorting heroin. And they started selling crack, and they were still snorting heroin. And even in snorting that heroin, they thought that heroin was better than the crack that they were selling. So I'm just saying that, especially being in a city like Baltimore, we have to keep it a buck. And then even the idea that our grandfathers was drinking on the weekends, they were pissy drunk, my brother said.
Yeah,
I mean, so that right there is indicative that grandpa was going through some problem.
You better know it.
That grandpa, maybe he was staying straight throughout the week at work. I mean, some of them did that. Come on, let's keep it a buck. Some of them didn't.
He had to, but when he got home.
Right. And some of them I know, I have uncles and cousins. I'm black. I grew up in these places that were drinking on the job. So I know uncles. I have uncles that worked at at Coke 45 and other different places, and they literally weren't supposed to drinking, but they were that was their job, and they told me that they got caught drunk on the job. I counsel people, and they get caught and they get reprimanded, and they got to go through some courses or something like that. So what I'm saying is, we be living in delusional worlds and delusional realities. But again, I think it comes from a place where you want to try you just want to hold everybody accountable, because you want us to do better. But there's this other piece that I also notice that happens, and that piece that happens is this: we do not necessarily. We began to compare people to ourselves. We began to say, look what I went through, and look at all that I'm doing. So if I've been through all of this, how could they ever not do or even accomplish all the things I accomplished? So hence, because I did this, and I've been through these same streets, and even worse at times, that somehow, if somebody else can't do that, they're just too lazy.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I did that. So you're comparing people against you who are you are an anomaly, you're an outlier, you are not the norm out here.
Yeah, you're not the standard.
Huh?
You're not the
standard. So what we begin to do, I told people on the show, if I begin to compare people against me, and I'm not tooting my horn, if I begin to compare people against me in how much I work and how much I do things, that'll be an unfair assessment, because y'all won't get no sleep. I mean, I get sleep, but what I'm saying is I work a lot. I got several things going on, but my personality makeup, the way that I am structured, allows me to do these things and be at peace. Yeah. If a lot of people did what I did on a daily basis, they would not be at peace. You understand? You know, there's something about the way I'm high on conscientiousness. So that means that, and I'm not really a thrill seeker. So really, like, for example, I don't need a lot of things. I don't need to get high. I don't need to go and jump on roller coasters. I don't need all of that. For me, I'm very settled in my personality. I'm talking about personality type, which is measurable. I can show you the results even. Is low pleasure seeking. I don't need a lot of pleasure. I just need simple things to be happy. And the other thing is this: I'm high on conscientiousness, which is orderly, which is timely, which is structured, all these type of things. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm any better than anybody else. But what that does mean is that I have, through my experiences and also my genetics, here I go.
Yeah.
A person who can sit down and read books and write things and do this and do that. Other people don't do that, but I can't do what other people do either.
Yeah. That's a good assessment, because a lot of times what we can do, you don't understand that's your superpower. You might be good at that, but someone else is good at something else that you can't do.
Even if that's laying down.
Yeah. Even if that's not doing nothing, right? Some people are good at that. But, so I think I like that. That's a great assessment. John, you can hit up number one.
No, hold on real quick. But I think what you were saying, though, is that this idea that we take on the oppressors, white, hegemonic ideology, we take on these ideas, right? We take on these thought forms and think they're our own. Hence, we begin to, we like, you know what? He ain't wrong. The white man right. We are lazy. So again, I just want to emphasize that is miseducation at its best. So that is also very, if you want to call it lazy, I would say, well, on an individual level, that's academically, that's lazy academically. But I would never say we as a group of people are lazy academically. I will never say that. And then also, it teeter-totters in the area of self-hatred. But go ahead. I just want to emphasize that.
And when you look at all the things that we've done as African, as the African people, from not being able to read for 200 years to outread everyone else around us, and to be able to build and now be more educated than anyone in this country, that's an accomplishment that no one in history has ever made, any group of people. I think we definitely don't look at what we do, because we're in a society that continues to attack us. So we tend to take on those thoughts, and that's the nuance of it. Is that sometimes it, like you said, I think it is a lot of self-hate, because you hear the old and I have to go. I sit with my mom a lot, and what she says sometimes it amazes me. Like, we can be looking at a show, and it'll just be white people, and she'll be fine. And then when the black people come, she said, "Our black people." Now it's color and it's us. I think we readily attack ourselves, and that's something that's learned behavior, and we got to look at that. And we do it our young people too. We attack them for being youth, being young, being what we were when we were young, and it's a problem.
Yeah, and we believe that these ideas are ideas that came out of nowhere, that we literally came up with these thoughts. Like, it is a idea I came up with. I've discovered that black people are lazy, but not knowing that it has a history. You understand? That people like Johann Blumenbach and Linnaeus and all these people who created these racial stratification or classification systems,
yes,
actually attributed black skin and woolly hair and characterized them as being lazy, which is scientific racism, and it still exists in our culture today, unconsciously and or consciously. We think that we came up with these unique ideas, but not realizing that we are perpetuating white scientific racism.
Yes, that is so true. Like, this was something that was put into society. This is an intentional effort, and it's permeated. It's grown over the years, and now we have actually digested, and we're manifesting the same behaviors, and it's unfortunate. I think a lot of times when this lazy comes in. Okay, John, let's end with the first one. So we're gonna put a little link from that interview, because I want you to.
I will say, white supremacy plays a part. We are dropping the ball. We are dropping the ball in some areas. I always use this analogy. There's somebody setting traps for us, and we know this person sets traps because we've been dealing with it for centuries. And it's like we're kind of not noticing the traps, or being oblivious to the traps in a way, and kind of falling into the traps more when we know this trapper is out there. Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, I get you.
We're not showing enough care for watching out for these traps.
No, I get you. 1, 2, 3, 4. I get you. But the problem with that is, first and foremost, whoever Myron is, he needs to chill. And the reason why he needs to chill, because what people do when they're from another country, they come to the U.S. and they try to call other people lazy.
That's true.
And they try to.
So I will say, white supremacy plays a part.
So I wanted to put that in.
The ball.
I wanted to put that in, DoC, because that's a lot. I hear this all the time. Africans, Europeans talking about the American African. And I think a lot of times I hear people say, well, Africans don't like us. Because I don't think we really care. We know Europeans and all of that. We really don't care about that. But we always say Africans don't like us. And I think a lot of time, I want you to expound on particularly like how this thought process, what we see with Africans, and how they sometimes say things about us that aren't actually true, and where it comes from.
Miseducation again, right? Of course, they're educated to see us as less than. Their education lots of times comes through what they see in Hollywood. Their education often comes from what it comes from the same mediums that we get information about them from, which is often misinformation. And often Hollywood has done a great job on the way that it has projected Black people in America, in other places on the continent, and diasporically. And hence we began to create ideas. We began to make assessments of why Black people act this way, just like all other pseudoscientists. Such we follow white people who have been the first pseudoscientists. I don't know if I can really substantiate that, but yes, they were really good pseudoscientists, you know, and that's where all this comes from. Yes, yep. Pseudoscientific stuff such as the racial stratification class, racial stratification system that says that black people are lazy. Yes, that's what I want to say. That black people in Africa are animals. That Tarzan had to come and save them.
Yeah.
And you know these things pass on. What even if you never even saw Tarzan before, know that if you didn't see Tarzan, somebody's father saw Tarzan, and he taught his children things about white people directly or indirectly, and then these things are passed on. Where we actually see white people as being bigger, greater, cleaner, friendlier, nicer, more intelligent, more educated. They smell better. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe not. There might be an argument there because I do hear in the community, I do hear people say these things that aren't necessarily that stereotypical about white people as well. But what I will say is these other things, though, definitely they see white people, even if they do say that. Let's be honest. They still see white people as being pure, clean, intelligent, smart, more attractive, more educated, more friendly, more trustworthy in all these things. And we see ourselves as less than, dirty, criminal, uneducated, all types of things. Yes.
But I think sometimes we don't even know we see ourselves as that. You know,
absolutely.
We think that we're just being very, you know, we're just looking at the situation and assessing it. But it's psychological, I think.
Right. Definitely psychological. Because if you look at the news, as people often say,
yep,
you'll see how they portray us. And even you who live in the community with us, who knows that the entire community is not unsafe, somehow we begin to buy into that. We begin to buy that most people are criminals in our community, that most people are selling drugs. When if you really took a step back,
it's not happening.
Looked at the big picture, and you would realize that no, it's just a few people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and guess what? If we did come together, the rest of us, we could outnumber them. In fact, we far outnumbered them. It's similar to if you think about on the plantation, white people put in our minds that they were so powerful that we stayed in our place.
Yeah. And wow, that right there is that's it. Is that if you really, because I think we listen to stuff that we see in the television and we don't even look in our own lives. You know, they say some things about black men, and you look, you got 10 black men in your family is doing great. That's good fathers. That's family men. So I think a lot of times we got to get we have to understand that the media has a lot to do with this. The way we're depicted all over the world has a lot to do with this. And it's a lot to do with what white folks did to us. When I think oppression, that they have to continue to negate our greatness so they can feel okay. What do you think about that? So that kind of is why we are the way we are. And this continuous attack. Is that a guilt thing on their part, or what
could you sum that up real quick for me? I was multitasking.
I'm saying that I think that the depiction that we are, the depiction of American Africans around the world, American African or African Americans around the world, and Africans to us is a way for the oppression that has been bestowed upon us, the guilt. So they have to continue to negate how great we are so they can feel better about themselves. And then we tend to digest all of those nuances, and then we are negative amongst our own selves.
Yeah. And when I say they, I do think that's more of a what you call a defense mechanism on a group level, where when you feel inferior yourself, you have to now put somebody else down to protect yourself. Dr. Welsing does a lot about that. She uses like psychoanalysis to kind of look at white people as a group and a collective. However, I would say that most white people don't even realize what they're doing. But I will also, and people don't like when I say that. But the problem is they're doing it. And because they don't even know what they're doing, that makes it even more dangerous.
Yes,
and in fact, that's why they can sit there and have so much conviction that they're doing nothing. And everything has to do with you being lazy, because I'm not doing anything to you. My forefathers didn't do anything. And if they did, I didn't do that. And that was back then. Yes. And they literally believe that, many of them. So because they believe that, the research even shows and supports that white people believe that black people at a much greater place in life at this moment, and racism is a thing of the past, and all these type of things where black people think the opposite. And the reality is that makes them more dangerous. Some of these people who you call liberals, who literally want to be your friend, they will hurt you the most.
Malcolm said it.
Say it again.
Malcolm said it.
Yeah, I don't. What did Malcolm say?
Malcolm said, "Be careful of the liberals."
They're
the ones who love you, but they're the ones who will kill you first.
Right, and because they're good fighters, because especially women, white women, they're really good fighters because they learn from us. First of all, they learned from the civil rights movement, and they did the, and all the fight that we had all the time. They put the women's suffrage movement and women's gender, all this different type of thing. So they've become real good fighters, and hence what they will do is utilize those skills against you as a black person. Many times I kind of lost my train of thought there, but what I will say is, if you accuse them of the thing, they're like, how dare you, not me. And then they learn through like books like racial fragility and all these CEUs. They're trying to utilize their whiteness and ways to help people and all. But the thing is, they are really fragile. And what I mean by fragile, I don't mean they fragile like they won't hurt you. What I mean is they cannot conceive of the idea that they are racist and not helpful, or that they just hurt you. It's too much for their own psyche. It's too much for, and this is what Dr. Joy DeGruy speaks about in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. She talks about that cognitive dissonance that goes on. White people live in a state of cognitive dissonance. And what we believe is that white people are consciously walking around doing these things, and some of them are. But the reality is, I am telling you, the one that you need to be worried about are the ones who, you worry about all of them, but the ones who truly believe that they are doing you good, save the dogs, the whales, and the Negroes. They definitely think they're doing great work, but they're literally hurting people, and they're causing black people stress every day, even at these jobs. When you talk about lazy, I had to really, really consider, and I really have to hold us like at a high level. Because even though I've been self-employed for so many years, I've done so many great things and all this and all of that, when I think of working in an institution, anytime I've done that for short periods of time, I realize there's a level of stress that I just can't deal with. So I have to applaud black people who work in anywhere in these white systems. Because first and foremost, there's research around racial battle fatigue that shows and supports that black people are clocking out due to the level of stress that they're dealing with daily at work. And let's talk about that. That's enough reason for nobody to want to go to work. But again, we got to, but nonetheless, it's a lot. We got to deal with all of it.
Listen, that right there is big. Like, even if you're not lazy and you put yourself together to go to work, what you got to deal with. But I want to say to everyone, listen, if you're watching on Facebook, we're a YouTube only show. So please head over to YouTube at BoXX Radio and check us out there, because we're signing out of Facebook. All right. So that what you
family,
just said.
Like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, family.
Yes. Like, share, subscribe. We need that. Black up the algorithm.
If you're on my page, go over there to BoXX Radio. Go to BoXX Radio, spelled like you see up in the on the screen. Go over there, like the video over there as well. Also subscribe over there.
Please do. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Doc. But that right there says something. Like, people say you're lazy, but when you go to work, there's a continuous attack. Who wants to work under that condition? And a lot of us can't just quit. And a lot of us just can't move on. So a lot of us check out. Some, not a lot. Some check out. And those are the ones we want to say are lazy, but we don't talk about the societal attack.
It's fatiguing. And let's keep it a buck. What people often consider when they talk about these things is the overt attacks. Yep. I'm not talking about that. Yep. That is few, far, and in between.
You're right.
I am talking about the subtle racial blows that people have coined as we've coined as microaggressions. Yes, our black brother, MD, psychiatrist, I think his last, what is his Pozon? No, I can't think of his name right now. But unless he coined that term, if I'm correctly recalling things, and it's a real thing. And if you haven't really worked in systems and institutions with them, you can't even explain it to some degree. I would ask you to kind of like really put yourself in empathize with how stressful it would be, and sometimes it's difficult to really to relate, because the thing is, it takes a toll on you, social, emotionally, which will cause fatigue, which you can also call laziness. When people are so tired, when they get off of work, that they got to go home and just, they can't do anything else. It's like, okay, if you're a woman, you understand when you're in a man-dominated society. If you've never been in like racially wise, if you've never been in working with another racial group where they're the majority or lived in that type of community, just think about if you're a woman, think about how it feels when you don't think men are taking you seriously in your own whatever. Or if you're a person that's younger and the elders aren't taking you serious, and you really have something to offer, and how fatiguing that can be when people just aren't taking you serious, and they're also just, or your mate or your partner or your friend, they're passive aggressive, and you know how much energy that takes out of you, because they know how to flip things back on you, and you're just like, and they're being nice with it, and they're smiling in your face, and then they're making you feel like you're crazy. If you've ever been gaslighted by somebody, this is how it feels to work in these white institutions. So I got to give a big up and a shout out and applause to anyone who works there, because I don't have that bandwidth.
It's the truth. The hospitals, the schools, any place you work, and the more educated, sometimes the more micro the aggression.
So your job pulled it up?
Yeah, job pulled it up. Mm-hmm. The term was coined by Harvard University Chester M. Pierce in 1970 to describe insults and dismissals which he regularly witnessed non-Black Americans inflicting on African Americans. Mm-hmm.
And so we be saying things like, these are white terms, and so I be like, well, just because we use it, like, well, see, Black people can't coin anything. You get what I'm trying to say? This is the miseducation and the self-hatred.
Yep.
They even say white people coin critical race theory. Like, I mean, like, stop, Black folks, stop. Why we keep saying white people did something? I mean, I just sit there and let us talk. But anyway,
well, a lot of times that again is what we're talking about. It's the self-hate of self, and not being recognized your greatness, and you're always deferring to the majority population. That's baked in stuff right there. That's baked in stuff. But what you said about working, because I have experienced it. And most of us have to go to work because we have to take care of our families. We have to do things, but we are actually being attacked daily. And that can make anyone, you're not really lazy. You are you're in a psychosis.
You're in a psychosis. Explain what you're saying here, because you love that word. I mean, since the first time I came on your show, you just love to use that word psychosis. I don't know if you know.
When I say psychosis, is you're acting out this thing all the time, and it's almost like a cloud over you. It's your psycho. It's you. Like you go to work, when you walk in the door, you got to go. All right, it's time to go inside, and you have to put your armor on or whatever it takes for you to get through that day, and it's exhausting. So it's almost like it's your psychosis is what you have to deal with to get through to get to.
It's like abuse. It's like you're dealing with, it's called stress, if I really want to tell you. Right? Because psychosis is like when you're really almost having a mental, you're delusional or dealing with delusions and hallucinating and all that type of thing. But when you're dealing with stress, that's what it's called. It's called stress. See, understand that there's something called stress. There's something called trauma, and trauma is stress. Okay, so trauma is stress. Let everybody say that with me. Trauma is stress. I know we think it's a fancy word, but trauma is stress when it becomes too overwhelming that your mental internal resources can't keep up with it, where you feel so overwhelmed, you feel stuck. So stress has levels and it varies. And it depends on the person how much stress can become traumatic.
I love
so
that.
When we're dealing with, just think about it. If you've been around somebody you call a narcissist or somebody who's just very aggressive or very abusive or whatever it is, and you know they're just manipulating you, or you have a friend and you know she's just, or he or she is just so needy, and they know how to be the victim, and they know how to turn it on you and make you feel away and all that. This is what Black people deal with white people every day at work. And even though some of it is us, I'll be honest with you. And what I mean by that is sometimes because of our trauma, we see things that did not necessarily happen the way that it happened. However, things happen, and that doesn't discount the many things that do happen. Because what happens is when you're hyper vigilant, you see things. But the fact is that we're not like that for no reason at all. We're like that because people in this society named white people have put us through hell.
That's true.
And so when we see them, for some of us, even seeing them is traumatic or re-triggering or re-traumatizing. But that doesn't mean, again, that we don't have to do some work because we have to do some work that they will not continue to re-trigger us and traumatize us, hence keeping us stuck. So I don't want to give us, this is not an excuse, but this is a reality that working in these environments are very difficult. And guess what? Most of us are. So that means there's a lot of energy. The definition again, there's a lot of energy. If you're Black and you're working in these institutions and white spaces, even Black spaces that are controlled by white people, it is stressful. And it is more stressful on you than, let's say, your white counterparts. White people live in a society and do not have to endure, for the most part, the level of stress that we endure. Not to say that they don't have to deal with stress, because there are oppressed groups of white people as well. But the one less thing they have to worry about is white stress, because they're white. But whiteness for Black folk is everywhere, whether we want to admit it or not. And me being, and I think, a pretty put together guy and don't care about white people that much and don't need them to employ me, and none of that type of thing, I still know how stressful it is just being around them, because you know how stressful it is. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of energy put out. There's a lot of us working in these environments. Yeah. And you want to know why he coming home drinking and sipping and smoking.
That's it. That's why. Real talk. But you know what? I hope this changes our mindsets and how we look at things, because a lot of times, some of us go to work every day. We're very responsible, but at work, our heart rate is up. Mm-hmm. We're stressed out. We're going through it, but we're powering through for our children, for mom and them, for our own ego sometimes. But understand that if you're not comfortable and you're going through this, how are you going to say someone else is lazy because they don't want to engage in that? We got to look at how we think these things.
But my question is, that's not true, though, because we are engaging. That's the fact.
No, I'm saying the one who's lazy, who's not working, who doesn't want to go to work.
Right.
But they're not particular. Sometimes they're just checking out, like they don't want to deal with that.
Well, that's true. That's true.
They're finding another way.
That's true. But on the other hand, why I have an argument against people who say that, because they're saying Black people are lazy. So that means there's a great majority. In order to say that Black people are lazy, you have to now agree that the great majority of us fit in those boxes. Yeah. The great majority of us with error rate less than 5%, that your statistical data is so accurate, it's so statistically significant that it has a margin of error less than 5%. So, huh?
What are you quoting? What margin of error?
What am I quoting?
Yeah, what is that? A statistic.
You a scientist, so you should know.
You're the scientist here. I'm the host. But yeah, that right there, what you just said, when it comes to stress in the workplace, and it has manifested from us to our children, to every generation. And then we say this generation they don't want a job, or they don't want to go to college. Well, because we in ways I think kind of communicated that. Like, this shit is hard.
Well, yeah, they seen all the work you put in.
That's right.
And they like, I don't want that.
I don't want to do that.
Like, oh, Baba, you started 5 businesses. I want to relax. I mean, I got
you. Still ain't got nothing yet.
All those type of things. Oh, you got a whole MD and you broke.
I mean, real talk.
You got student loan bills. You can't compete with your white counterparts. We can't go to the same schools of them. And you have a whole master's degree, and you have a whole MD, and a whole JD, and a whole BA, and all of that. Yep.
So, I mean, this is why I think this conversation is so important, because we're bringing context to the thought process. And a lot of times there's never context. We're just coming from our white gaze and saying, oh, our children don't want to work. They're lazy. They're trifling. Or we look at somebody in the street. People look at beggars and why they don't get a job? Why you out here begging? Go work. Go get a job. Like, the job is comfortable for Black folks. And not that we all can create our own spaces. I'm not saying that. I'm saying let's be realistic that you are not comfortable on your own cushy job.
Yo, if we let's go. Let's take it down a notch, like what you're saying. So I think you gave a good example. And when you think about the example you gave about someone who may be called a panhandler or a beggar or what have you, if you really think about it, people do say that. But they're not considering the psychological state of that person that lives under the bridge. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? My big cuz says, as of June 2024, the unemployment rate for Black people is 6.3%. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? What's up, big cuz?
So is he saying that makes us lazy?
No, he's saying that's the unemployment rate. Only 6% of us, quote unquote, statistically are unemployed.
Out of all of us. Got it. All right. I'm sorry, proper perspective. I gotta get proper perspective.
So yeah, we dealing with these statistics, right? He says Black laziness is a myth to mask the fact that white people are statistically together. Is that the problem?
The problem. I agree.
Hold up. I don't understand. What did TG say?
The majority of welfare recipients are white folk. He's saying Black laziness is a myth.
Yeah. And I understand where people come from. Again, thanks for the stats, because that's my cousin Larry, VA. Look, you come in if you want, but I don't know. We about to get off anyway. But look, so it's a myth. And it's just taking it down to another level, because people think it's a excuse. When you think about the panhandler, do you literally think that person is sleeping on the side of the road? Even if let's say it's fake still. Let's say it's even fake. Do you think that somebody who's even faking and they might even live that somehow there's not something wrong with their psyche, or they're not struggling mentally or something? You literally think people aren't dealing with things? or not really dealing with them. You know, like literally, you're not asking what is going on with our children if they're acting this way, other than them being lazy, and then the reason why. And then you say, well, maybe I can agree with you because their parents was lazy and they became lazy. So black people just been historically lazy from their their thoughts. You know, being
homeless is hard work. That's what the brother said. Being homeless is hard work. It's not easy being homeless. This thing is good. You don't work. Being homeless is hard.
That's a flip, and that's a reality. And that's a reality.
That's a reality. Yeah.
That's a reality. And sometimes I gotta give mad respect to people who decide that they're gonna tap out this system. Yep. I ain't that gangster.
Me neither.
You see what I'm saying? Look.
I'm in it to win it. Yeah.
Proper perspective, because that is accurate, and that's not just a flip and a play on words. Being homeless is almost like or similar to being off the grid. It's off the grid, like you literally have to survive.
But it's off the grid in your face. That's the thing.
Yes, right there. You have to learn a whole new level of skills that none of us, or many of us, and most of us do not possess.
That's so true. Let's put some respect on their name for sure.
Some people say, I want to be so much out of this system, I refuse to act in it.
Yep. I'm checking out. And we look at them as being something's wrong with them.
Now, getting back to the children, though, because that was one of the major things, right?
Like young people are checking out too. Let's talk about that.
Okay, and hold up. And I think you said you had something about the Hispanic brothers and sisters that
Yeah, that's next, job. Cue that up.
Yeah.
We need to get that in. Cue that up, Ja. The number 2. Gotta talk about our Latino brothers and sisters.
So, with that being said, you brought up white people, and you're right. You know, white people could complain about that. But when you drive around the city and just look around, right, you see a lot of Hispanics working low wage and low paying jobs and things like that. They don't seem to care about it as much as we do.
You say sing. You say sing.
Sing is because they're doing it.
Bro, that's sing. See, that's your understanding of that.
So, with that being said, you brought up.
So you expound, and I want you to expound on here, like, because we compare ourselves to Hispanics. I hear it all the time. So hit a da.
You say that I expounded on it here.
Yeah, because you said that yeah. Why do we compare ourselves to people who are being subjugated?
You know, why? That's something I would have to really think about. I'm sure that there's various reasons why we do it, but we see what happens is, I think it's tantamount to seeing the grass is greener on the other side. You know, when we don't know, we just don't know. We think we know because we see representatives and we say, well, they're working hard. Look at them. They're working together. And they're not even complaining. This is what the argument was about. They're not even complaining. We're complaining. They're not. So what literally has you believing that they don't complain? When they have actual people who literally in this city and across the nation that fight for equal wages and Hispanic people's rights and what in the sanctuary cities to protect them and all these different things to say, look, they are being exploited.
Yes.
They know they're being exploited. They're fighting not to be exploited and not deported and all these other things. And you're saying, well, we are complaining that Black people are complaining about how much they're getting paid, or that they refuse to work for a wage that is beneath them. I get it. There's some of us that might just be a little delusional and think that we should make way much more, but that is not the majority of us. Mm-hmm. The most of us want to have a wage that is respectful, that I can put food on my table, I can have shelter. Most of us are earning so little, even with jobs. If we're single, we have to even live in rooms in Baltimore. Yep. Things are so expensive. It's almost easier, and it's almost like Like literally, wow. Look, let me just think about this. For an individual, I can even empathize or even intellectualize why he or she may not even get a job, because if there is such thing as welfare, if there is a such thing as subsidized housing, I can get almost more without having a regular job. It takes so much to actually, like, our children can't look. When we even think about our children, most of them can't even make enough money even after college to go out there and get a house.
That's right.
Like literally, or an apartment by themselves. They almost have to have a roommate or two, because things are so out of whack. Things are so expensive. Back in the day, people are still thinking $50,000 and $60,000 a year is money. When I was young, people thought 50 and think, oh, you get the $50,000 a year, you're doing something. But you can get groceries for a month. My father and mother told me, like for like $50, you can't get a day's groceries for almost $50 today. So what I am saying is this system is playing a game on us, and we refuse to hold the system accountable. Ooh. And I understand that, you know, if you want to hold us accountable and say we have to have some accountability, the accountability that I would offer up is us holding each other accountable to hold the goddamn system accountable. To change some things, to bring about some change that is not stressing people out, that's not causing crises, that is not causing people to become psychotic, as you speak to have breakdowns or mental breakdowns or what have you. Do not have to deal with this depression because I'm not as good, or I can't. A lot of young men now don't even feel comfortable being men because they can't make enough money. You can't even get on the streets today. And many of us who talking this talk back in the day, you were selling dope, you were selling crack. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is this: it's a different time, so it calls for a different measures and a different approach and a different way of looking at the problem. The same old way of continuously telling our people that we ain't no good, the tough love, the scared straight, which scientifically research supported that doesn't work. We done try to scare too many generations straight, and SHIT has not worked yet. Yes, I spelled it, Queen. I spelled it. Yes. So it has not worked, but somehow you think it's going to work. And then we have the nerve to call people lazy, but we just lazy without analysis and without interventions on an individual level. I am never saying that black people as a collective is anything, but you understand. And I know that you can never find any research, statistics, data, or study that says that, unless you're talking about the bell curve, which is a racist book with an agenda. Maybe this is what we're reading. And if we didn't read it, guess what? We don't know that these talking points and political ideas came from somewhere. We think that somehow we've been created something. No, you got that from somewhere. It sounded good and you're repeating it. Your favorite black talk host or your YouTuber said something and now you're repeating it. They are not geniuses. They are repeating things for views, and they're repeating things out of ignorance. The same people who are saying that black people are lazy, intellectually, scientifically, irresponsible. I love them though, and I know they mean well. I know they mean well because they want to see us do better. But guess what? You got to do some more work. Peace.
Oh, so in all actuality, it's not that black people are lazy. Or I don't know if anyone's lazy. The analysis is lazy. That's what I'm hearing. It's like we're not looking at the nuance or the context of the argument. That what you see sometimes is trauma, sometimes it's psychotic conditions. People are just anxiety. It's things people are going through, and so they cannot work, or they cannot get themselves to work. So we see a lot of things out here, and we need to have nuance to the argument. So I think you broke it down to the down on that one. Wait, we can't. You muted.
let me be clear that the argument is that Black people are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even speaking about those people who find it difficult to work, because the reality is that is a false. So because it's a false, I just want to differentiate that is not that they can't work, because the majority of us are working. It's those who are not working, we can look at on a more granular level, and we can then determine it. But to just cast even a net over the 6% or the, let's say 10% of the population or whatever it is, let's say it's 20%. To cast and just say they're lazy is lazy. What we have to do is go in there and dig in there and figure out exactly what is going on. And I guarantee you it's deeper and more complex than one being lazy. In fact, you can't scientifically support it, and I know it, because I don't know if there's a lazy scale. Maybe there is a lazy scale. Sometimes we're having these conversations and we don't even understand how people measure things socially. So to say that one is lazy will become a social construct. So now you say, or a psychological construct, or a physiological construct, or a mixture of all of that. So now you have to create an instrument that says, I'm going to measure this. And then I have to statistically support this and check it for reliability and validity and all these type of things that goes into psychometrics or any type of metric that people are using to measure things that are not physical. So it becomes a psychological measure. So if you can find a psychological measure that says that measures the laziness, that has also been normed on black people, then I'll say, let's use it. Let's put the study together. But the problem is you probably won't even get that through IRB, Internal Review Board, because who wants to do a study to ask the question whether black people are lazy? So I know you don't have the study.
Well, you know what? We said that media has a lot to do with this. Of course, all the mechanisms of what oppression and things, but the media has depicted, I think, African Americans in a certain way. And so people all over the world has this thought process. And how do you debunk something that is continuously being perpetrated?
That's what
about internationally, because I love my Africans. I love African people. That's because I'm African. But they have a depiction of us from what they see, and when they come here, they see things, and they really don't have a real relationship with us.
I don't think it's always as universal anymore. I mean, because when you think about a Jamaican, what people say?
Jamaicans too, all of them.
No. What is Jamaicans known for?
Oh, working. Oh, they workaholics. They
five jobs, right?
Jobs. Yeah.
How many lazy Africans have you heard about? Ooh. I'm talking about in this country.
How many lazy
Africans? Yes, Africans from the continent.
Yeah, from the continental Africans.
Yes, I don't think people see them as lazy. Ooh. They're talking about black Americans.
They are.
I asked the question. They think we're lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about our own people who think we're lazy.
Yeah.
Even though they know that most of the people around us are doing hard work and fighting against this racist system. But again, what we do is we start to compare ourselves against other groups that haven't been through our experiences, nor are not the entire group. That's what I spoke about in that film, that segment of the
And I wanted you to say that.
That they compare us against
group.
Yeah, they take a segment of a population from people who migrate from another country over here and compare us against them, which is unfair because, of course, these people probably are some of the most industrious people out of their country. Hence, they made it to another country to find a way out. Where there's other people who are quote unquote stuck there or would love to be here, but don't have the energy or the time or the motivation to get here. I know plenty of people. All you have to do is talk to people and be in family and space.
They're going to say they won the lottery.
Well, say that again. The lottery in Africa, how they do it that way?
They don't say they won the lottery. It wasn't industrious. They won the lottery, and that's why they're here. Listen, I love African people, and I don't think all of them hate African Americans, but I know that we're being depicted in a way that sometimes
there's various ways, though. There's various ways. Some people do actually do work as well. Yeah. Okay. I mean, and that could be again a generality and a stereotype as well. Not to say it doesn't have some truth to it, but people typically they have to find hard ways, even if they got somebody, even if they slipped over here with a work visa. Lots of people come here with work visas and school visas and all types of things. So there's many ways people get over here
from all over the world. So I just want to kind of debunk this lazy thing. Is like you got to look at the country we live in. And there's a lot going on here, and people are hurt, and we've been hurt for generations. And you see people who just can't cope, and some people just check out. It's not particularly that the group is lazy, is that the group is attacked. And so, but if I look at my family, there's plenty of workers. If you look in your Black family, there's plenty of workers. So you cannot blankly say that Black people are lazy. I think that's a problem.
Even in my family, let's say my cousin doesn't have a job, right?
Yeah.
He ain't lazy. I got a cousin ain't got no job. They be fixing cars and working on the side, cooking food, doing the grill, doing all types of human things. Yeah, like even if they don't have a job at all, they do everything for their mother. They do stuff that I don't want to do. So I'd rather go get a job. So let's keep that a buck. Like some people, look, I don't want to do the things at home. What is it called?
The hustle homework, I call them.
Yeah, I'm looking for the actual term. I don't want to do the things in the house. The house is another word I'm looking for, but nonetheless, I don't want to do those things at home. I would rather not be a housewife and go to work. I would rather not be a house brother who has to cut the grass and fix the cars and take out the trash and do the hedges and clean the dishes and wash the floor. Send me to work any day. Send me to work, and I will work all day to not do those things.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, some people, even if they don't have a job, they do a lot in a day that I don't want to do.
Yeah, the hustle man is doing something. If you ain't working in somebody's house, especially these mama them, they relentless. You got to do this. I need you to fix that. So they working too, in a way. They're providing a service.
It ain't no way. See, that's a more natural way. Ooh. These jobs are like, these are things that these are more recent. People typically take care of home. They farm, they clean, they do these type of things. All these big corporations and stuff are newer inventions.
Yeah, that is new. You're right. Most of us work home, working at home. That's the and capitalism, and I mean, they might have shops like I have, which I enjoy, that type of thing. But yeah, we look at the world in these very small, myopic ways and think that the way that things look, it's always looked that way. That's a word right there. So let's summarize this thing, because we're almost out of here. So the question we started at the beginning, and it's here again after you threw your analysis: are Black people lazy?
So you want me to answer that question? Yeah,
I want you to surmise all of this and make it real, because I want folks to look at things differently. Like, people have ancillary issues, and there's some oppression going on in America. We look at the society we live in. So people react differently. Some people check out, some people get high, some people don't work, but we all are going forward.
Let me summarize this. And I want to summarize it in a way that is clear. And see, it doesn't even deserve an excuse. It doesn't even deserve the idea that I say that they might be depressed. It doesn't even deserve the thing that people are stressed or whatever you just said. It doesn't even need that. And why am I saying that? Because in order to say that Black people or any other group of people are a certain way or have certain characteristics, you have to statistically support that with statistical significance. And it has to be a certain percentage. It has to meet some statistical number. And again, you will never find, at least at this point, you will be hard-fetched to find that more than half of black people don't work. So again, it's wrong. You're not going to find where black people are just not working or unwilling to work. For the most part, a great majority is impossible. You will not find it. I guarantee you.
Oh,
and
wow.
so again, we don't even have to talk about the ones that's depressed and all of that, although I will, because you're not going to find where most black people are unwilling to work. One, you have, and it has to be, even if you're at 51.1%, you're not, at the black people are working, you're not finding more black people that don't work. Okay, one. Two, for those people, let's say the 10% or the 5%, let's say 49%. If they're not working, then we have to ask the question, what is going on? Or if they don't have that energy, if they're unwilling to work, then we have to say, are you unwilling to work or you just can't find a job? That's a part of the population that's going to go right there. Then you have to say, so why don't you work? Oh, what's going on? I have mental health problems. Then you have to go. So by the time you start segmenting this thing off, you're going to be left with almost nothing. So are you following me?
I'm following you. You're saying as you put in different issues, and you'll see the numbers go down and down and down. So it does that 49% is not even real.
And even with the children, I'm not. That's not a real statistic, by the way. I'm just giving you an example. Let's say it was just that close, right? And then because you're going to find that some people are suffering with mental health problems. You're going to find that some people just got laid off yesterday. You're going to find out that some people they're unable to work because they're on disability or they have a disability. Or you're going to find that some people they're at home moms and they're working. You're going to find out that some people are at home dads and they're working. And you're going to find a whole lot of things till you get to this point. Maybe you find somebody who's just lazy. But I guarantee you're not finding a whole bunch of people that's just lazy. And even if they are lazy without a good reason. And I think that lots of times the laziness could be they're fatigued. And then you have to ask the question about our children. You have to ask, okay, so what is going on with you children? Why aren't you doing the things the way that we wanted to see you do the things? You know, I have 2 children. You understand? My children are not lazy. They work every day. One of them has way more energy than my other son, and my other son has a lot more chill, but the one who has a lot of energy has more energy than me. And I mean, I think I can go, but I ain't look that bro can go. So what I'm trying to say is, and I think it's also these fear tactics of the weed and the marijuana and the cocaine is making people lazy and all of this and all that. When half the people, a lot of these people out here smoking blunts every day and going to work. So let's stop the falseness.
They say wake and bake. Wake and bake. They say wake and bake.
Yeah, whatever that is, right? Wake and bake and go to work and suddenly sign up. What I am saying is I have heard people who said that we made them lethargic and lazy and all that type of thing. I'm not going to deny that. But what I am saying, that is not the most of our people and not even the most of our children. Mm-hmm. Some of our children ain't got no tolerance for bullshit, if you want to ask me. Even if they're wrong. They ain't got no tolerance for it. They don't have no tolerance.
Okay. So you're saying that there's a lot of generalizations going on here.
There's a lot of generalizations going on. It's very lazy scientific methods.
Yeah, very lazy. So the real joint then is, why are Black people considered lazy? It's not are Black people considered lazy. It's why are they considered? Do you think
are Black people considered lazy?
Some of the why. Huh?
Let me ask you, are Black people considered lazy by white people? Black people, who are they considered lazy by? Or are we? That would be a question of mine. Are we considered lazy?
Are we considered lazy? I
Black Americans
as a whole, I think yes.
Okay, and who are these people who consider us lazy?
A lot of times it's us. It's definitely Europeans. It's international citizens that come in this country and who've seen us and are looking at us and don't know us. I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that is something that people really feel. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because it needs to be debunked. We need to understand some of the whys.
So we lazy
really look at and this lazy opinion that we have of other people, and not really considering their path, what they're going through. You know, things that this country sets forth that you're not experiencing. Because I hear, you know, Asian people, you don't experience some of the things that African Americans experience. So we have to be very careful about our assessments of others until we know the full story.
But I think also the truth is, I don't think, honestly, we have a good enough assessment of them.
Ooh.
I think we look at the grass is greener, we glamorize them, we romanticize how industrious they are. You know, I think we have super other ethnics or something. Like we have super ethnics other than us. And we think that they somehow have these super magical powers, and even in their households, they don't have people that don't want to work or just tired and stressed, and they're arguing and they don't work. Like all you have to really do is you have to go to those communities and see the nuance in the people. We don't see the nuance in the people because we just see brothers and sisters on the side of the world working. We don't know who at home. Yeah. We don't even know if they're complaining. We think they out there in the sun and not complaining. You got something wrong. I didn't hire people from all ethnic groups, and I've heard them all complain. As a contractor. In fact, I've never heard a group of people complain better than white people, and I'm going to be honest. And this is my anecdotal experience. I don't have the research to support it, but I believe that if we were to do a survey to see who can complain the best, I think highly likely it's white people. I think we could do that. White people complain the best. I would argue they complain the best.
I can't weigh in on that. I don't know.
About things you only wish you had. White professionals complain about being underpaid. I don't care. Even MDs and JDs, and I am telling you, they all want more money.
Okay. Well, I think we in this hour we were able to kind of give folks another thought. Like, think about what you're saying. I think the assessment is more lazy than the people. Let's say that we've given people some thought process. Like, listen, it's something to say that maybe people are going through something, and they're not just particularly lazy, that they're going through something, and that everybody.
I keep trying to take you back.
What?
Again, some people are going through something. But at the core, it's a null conversation because most of us are working.
That's right.
We ain't got to give an excuse to those little group of people who are not working. Peace, peace, family.
We out of here, guys. Look, Job was like, listen, enough. But listen, guys, we're here every second and fourth Wednesday, DoC in the BoXX. Hit us up at, you can hit me up at blackboxradio@gmail.com. Please like, share, subscribe this video, and don't have lazy assessments. Give people a fair chance. We box up and out. Peace.
Straight like that. Most black people are doing the work. Peace.
Peace.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud.
Yeah, get that
Black
mind
and I'm
back.
proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.